That's how you look from standing over there.
If everyone would just mute, you're watching Brightside Global Trade. We're doing our September Health and Wellness with Jerry Baker. And Jerry Baker is a captain, formerly with the Medical Service Corps. He is retired from the US Navy, and he does nutrition consulting and coaching. And he is the founder of Fit for Life International, LLC. Jerry, welcome.
Well, thank you, Claire. Yeah, I knew that there are a few people who are not muted. James, I've been hearing a conversation from your end. If you could mute, that'd be great. Yeah, I had some slides that would sort of a formal introduction to myself, but for some reason those slides disappeared. So I will just give you a quick background. But yeah, I graduated from Calvin University with a BS in science, and then master's in clinical pathology from the College of Medicine at the Ohio State University. Spent 27 years in the Navy managing clinical laboratories and blood banks. Ran the Navy's blood banking program. Was the operations manager for the DoD blood program. Also ran the Navy's Medical Technology School, during which time I was then an associate professor at the George Washington University. My most fun job in the Navy was managing the Navy's Fleet Hospital program. That has nothing to do with ships, but I won't go into all that now, but it's basically 500 bed hospitals that are stored in various places around the world and moved to places where they're needed, such as during the Gulf War. So that was my background in the Navy. Retired after 27 years, worked for the Defense Health Agency and the military health system for another 14 or 15 years, and then established my company, which is called Fit for Life. I'm going to now hopefully share my screen, and I'm going to talk today on nutrition, immunology, the immune system, and particularly, let me move this banner off the slides here, and particularly how we build our immune systems, the importance of the immune system. I am actually an independent Shaklee distributor to our We Naturalist folks. I'd encourage you, if you haven't, to do some research on Shaklee Corporation. I think you'll find that you'll be impressed with their focus on nature. Dr. Shaklee felt that nature holds the secrets to good health, and for over 100 years now, Dr. Shaklee and then his company have been researching and using science to determine, discover those secrets in health. Shaklee is the first company in the world to be certified climate neutral, and was also responsible a number of years for planting over 1 million trees. So that kind of gives you an idea of where we fit in terms of being naturalists. And I appreciate your look. I'm going to look at your website a little later. So I'm going to try to keep this fairly short, and some of the slides we'll go through fairly quickly. But at this time of year, particularly as we're approaching cold and flu season, which my view is that there is no cold and flu season, there's just a vitamin D deficiency season. And vitamin D is one of the primary nutritional products that you need to be conscious of, and to be ensured that you are keeping up your vitamin D levels, as well as a number of other nutritional needs that our bodies have during particularly the so-called cold and flu season. So you probably had a chance to read this already. In terms of the immune system, it's a huge, complex system, probably one of the most complex systems in the body. Basically, can't really summarize it too quickly, but if a organism invades your body, and Dr. John will correct me if I say anything incorrect. There are a number of cells in the body that just go around, float through the blood system, and look for invaders, things that shouldn't be there, like, for instance, the COVID-19 virus. When it finds that, it then sends a signal through the rest of the immune system, and other cells are released that go and then find these invaders, and then they begin to copy various portions of their biology, their structure, and then begin to produce antigens, antibodies against those parts of that viral structure. So initial response is fairly quick, but it takes a while to build up the response to each individual to a particular invader. But in the future, once that happens, in the future, if your body discovers or finds another invader, the same type or very similar, the body reacts quickly because it already has in its, quote, database information about that kind of foreign body, and immediately begins to produce agents that will destroy those foreign agents. So that's why the immune system and immune health and natural immunity is far more powerful than, say, what you would get from at least the current vaccines. The immune system protects the body, kind of summarizes what I was saying earlier. And obviously the immune system is essential for survival. So how do you support your immune system? There's some very natural ways you can do that. One is in good nutrition. I'm going to talk about good nutrition today. That will be more of my focus. Getting to a healthy weight, good sleep, and stress reduction. All of those things help to build and support your immune system and keep it healthy. So optimal nutrition is the key. So protein, you need to have a good amount of protein each day. If you're getting that from your foods, you want lean meats, fish, poultry. I'm not a real big fish fan, but been eating more of it. Fruits and vegetables, that's pretty obvious. And your vitamin C, vitamin A, and things like zinc. Hopefully you've heard a lot about zinc and how important that is to combating viruses. Get plenty of whole grains, beans, and legumes, and then eat healthy fats. Not all fat is bad. Olive oil, nuts, seeds, avocado is a great healthy fat. So if you like avocados, that's a good fat. Getting to a healthy weight is essential. There's a lot of people who struggle with weight. They go on all these different dieting programs, and what happens is you lose lean muscle, and so your metabolism slows down. That's why most diets fail. So the key to losing weight, of course, is losing the right kind of weight. You're losing fat while preserving muscle to maintain your metabolism, and that's something that we at Shaklee specialize in. Matter of fact, that's how I got started with Shaklee. I started a weight loss program and lost 45 pounds, or 40 pounds, I'm sorry. And that was the beginning of our business. Once we saw how effective the products were, and other people began to comment about how good we looked, was actually kind of funny, because they would say, wow, you guys really look good. And it's kind of like saying, you guys didn't look so good before, but now you look good. But we didn't take it that way, but that's kind of what I was saying. So go to bed, sleep is essential. Go to bed and get up at the same time daily. I don't do that, but that's recommended. But turn off electronics an hour before going to sleep. There are people who lay in bed looking at their cell phones, and then they wonder why they can't sleep or don't sleep well. Don't take caffeine at least 6 hours before bed. Avoid alcohol. I mean, that will put you to sleep, but then you often wake up in the middle of the night. So then exercise. Your mind relaxes easier when your body is tired. But one other thing that I would recommend, and this was just released last weekend at our global conference, is a new sleep product called Dream Serene. I won't go into all the science geeky stuff about it, but it contains valerian root and lemon balm, which are a couple things from nature that help you to promote sleep, and then melatonin, which helps to keep you asleep. So for people that you know who suffer from problems with sleeping, I would highly recommend Dream Serene. Stress affects your immune system, so there are some ways to manage stress. Again, exercise. I know that's one thing I do, particularly if I start to get kind of wound up about things. Go out and take a walk. I also go to a fitness gym called Fit 20. If any of you have ever heard of that, I'd highly recommend it. Meditate, unplug, particularly from your cell phone, and stay positive. And I had another slide that disappeared. There is a product that we also have, which is called Stress Relief Complex, which contains ashwagandha root, which has been used, I think, in herbal medicine for centuries now, that helps you to relax. So in terms of exercise, just be consistent. I walk 4 or 5 times a week, as well as doing Fit 20. 2.5 hours per week is recommended. That's not that many hours. And you'll be surprised. You think, well, if I take that time away from what I'm doing, I'm not going to get as much done. If you get that kind of exercise, take the time of exercise, you'll get more done in the time that you have left. Choose exercises to increase your heart rates, lift weights, start slow and build steadily. So, making healthy food choices every single day can be challenging. You see this comparison. Which one are you going to choose? I guess it depends on how hungry you are and how disciplined you are. The donut kind of appeals to me, but the apple would be a lot better. So Shaklee makes it simple. You can customize to suit your needs. We have something called Meology. I will put a link to this in the chat. Meology is a health assessment survey, and it's just been revised so that you can now enter lab results and DNA results. If you do 23andMe or Ancestry DNA analysis, you can now enter that into the health assessment. And so the tool then will generate a list of nutritional products that are specifically designed for you and based on the answers to questions as well as your DNA. Now, the bad news is that we are all have our genetics predispose us to certain diseases. The good news is you don't have to allow that predisposition to be fulfilled. And Shaklee helps you identify the products that will help you to avoid those diseases for which you are predisposed to developing based on your genes. This is a really exciting, and I sometimes don't express excitement very well, but just believe me when I say I'm excited and I'm passionate about this, that you can actually now put in your DNA results. So the recommendations you get are incredibly specific for you. We talked about protein being so important. Here's a great protein source. And then a lot of the other vitamin D, vitamin E, vitamin B, and minerals, zinc, and so on, all can be obtained with Shaklee products like Vitalizer for women, Vitalizer for men, and then Vitalizer for old people like me, which is called Vitalizer Gold. But getting to immunity, this is what I want to talk about. There are a number of things you can do to build your immunity, in addition to the natural things that we talked about earlier. Nutriferon. This is designed for anyone looking for specialized daily support. This helps to maintain healthy immune function. I take this 3 times a day. And I'm not going to go into the science geek stuff here. But I will say it's the only dietary supplement in the United States which was created by the world-renowned immunologist, Dr. Yasuhiko Kojima, who spent decades screening hundreds of botanicals to identify natural interferon boosters. Interferon is what we say, the molecule or the a substance in your body that stimulates your immune system. And Dr. Kojima actually discovered interferon. He would have probably would have won the Nobel Prize, but this was in late 1940s, early 1950s. Because he was Japanese, because of World War II, I think there was a reluctance to award it, but he should have won the Nobel Prize. For times of greater immune challenges, their newest Shaklee powerhouse is the triple defense boost. So in clinical studies, and again, Shaklee doesn't release anything unless they do clinical studies to prove that it actually works. And if you want to see those studies, I'm happy to send you a link where you can look at all 142 or so of their clinical studies, most of which are published in peer-reviewed journals. You're not going to see that in another supplement company. So basically, it increases proliferation of or natural killer cells. I talked about earlier, these cells now that go out, they see there's an invader, and they go out and they kill it. And then increases proliferation of other critical immune systems, like almost 6 times normal. And it's packed with vitamin C and zinc and vitamin D. And if you've been reading anything at all about the immune system and so on, particularly during the recent COVID epidemic, pandemic, you know that all of these things, elderberry and quercetin is another one, are all essential in boosting your immune system to fight against invaders, whether it's COVID-19 or some other virus or a coronavirus cold flu, a cold virus. Okay, anyhow, I won't read through all this. By the way, if anybody is interested, I'll be happy to send you a copy of the slides. But this is a great tasting flavor. You actually use it every day. I mix it in some, we have an energizing tea, so I mix that in with the energizing tea to keep my immune system healthy. We've actually had COVID in around Christmas time and went through it fairly quickly. I was a little tired, but my immune system was such that it really was no worse than anything else I've ever had. Vitamin C, I won't read through all that, but I think everybody knows vitamin C is critical. We have 2 forms. One is a sustained release. So this will continue to raise your vitamin C level for up to 12 hours. So once you take that, it's not like you get a quick boost and then it drops, but it keeps it up for about 12 hours. Vitalized immunity, it's like the equivalent vitamin C in 16 oranges. Don't really use that so much anymore now that we have the triple defense boost. But if you have children and you want to have them take vitamin C, we have a chewable version, which I actually like as well. Defend and Resist is another product that's great. I had kind of a sore throat a little bit last night, and I thought, well, I'll take some Defend and Resist, and just gives you an immediate boost to fight off whatever is going on in your body. And not to forget about kids, we now have Meology for Kids. So in the packets that kids get, which has their name on it, and then whatever kind of little diagram or cartoon that they like, you get 2 super vitamin gummies and omega-3 jellies, which is, well, it has more the consistency of jelly, as you would expect. And then one that focuses on immunity, super immunity gummies. So if you have small kids or people who do, or grandkids, this is a great product to help to build their immunity and keep them healthy while they're at school around all those other kids who are just virus machines. And we have Meology, as I mentioned earlier, for adults. And these are our immunity products that I just mentioned. So I ran through that fairly quickly because I know time is limited, but I'll be happy to provide any additional information. I'll put my information in the chat, and please feel free to contact me at any time. And again, if I would encourage you, if you would like to know what nutritional products are specific and personalized for you, be sure to take our health assessment at the link that will be in the chat. I think that's my last slide. So I think I lost the other one. Yes, that concludes my presentation.
My, Jerry, that was outstanding. Oh man, you covered a lot of material. And so I guess it's safe to say that Shaklee is in the ounce of, what is it? Ounce of,
Prevention
cure.
is worth a pound of cure.
Yeah, right. I mean, so obviously in your immunity profile, it delves deep into stressing, prevention, health characters and profiles. That was an amazing presentation, Jerry. You've done a few presentations, but I'm sure, of course, I'd like to get the slides. And I think, of course, let me say this at the outset. What we're talking about and what we're providing here, this is enormously beneficial, especially as it relates to, because everybody loves being healthy, being a state of wellness and state of mind. And you brought up the issues of sleep. Now, sleep is one of those very mysterious territories that, we all want it, crave it, need it, and have to do what we have to do. But sleep, we must have good sleep. We must have good sleep. And so I know that, are there anybody have any questions for Jerry? And at the outset, before you get to that, let me share this with you. Jerry has really been consummate about sharing information about remaining, maintaining, and finding solutions to better health. And I want to give him credit for that. And each of you have had such a beneficial role in that way. And I think we're moving into a territory and an era where you really have to practice great practices, great habits. You want to stay healthy, maintain certain habits. I don't know. So I share that with you. So any questions? Any questions, please? We have another guest coming up right away. And 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We'll come back, Jerry. Okay, our next speaker is Mrs.
Elton.
Yes?
Elton, there was a question in the chat. Yes, sir. There was a question in chat.
Okay, let me see that question. Who is it from? Share the question.
Irby?
It was my question.
Okay.
Can you do a one-time order of Shaklee products that would be sort of your defense packet? If you think you're getting COVID, then you can take all those products to help you. Because you said you took some things that got you through it pretty fast. Could you just like have a first aid kit if you get COVID, and then, Shaklee products. So if you get it, then you start taking all these and they'll help you through it. That was my question.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, that's always possible. There's like having some triple defense boost and some Nutriferon on hand is a great start. Sure. Of course, I advocate for, just taking something every day just to keep the immune system really healthy. But sure, you could keep some on hand as an emergency. And as soon as you start to feel something, just start popping that stuff in. Yeah, you bet.
Nutriferon, that's different from interferon, and it's a triple defense boost. Tell me a little bit about interferon and if there's a difference between Nutriferon.
Sure. Interferon is what basically, I don't know if you'd say controls, but it stimulates your immune system to start producing what it needs to fight off disease. Nutriferon actually stimulates the production of interferon. Okay. So I mentioned interferon was developed or was discovered by Dr. Ishima. I don't have the name in front of me. I might be pronouncing it wrong. But then he developed he developed and patented, and we bought the patent from him for Nutrifuron, which is a mix of about 4 different herbs that help to stimulate in the production of interferon.
Okay, that's enormous. That's incredible, Jerry. I'd love to hear more about that, and I'd love to get samples of that. Actually, you know, I mean, because I feel great, but just as a benefit. But I hate to rush off, and I have 1,001 questions. Any other questions? Obviously, our next speaker is Mrs. Carol Edmonston, and she has a philosophy and a process for doodling that she suggests can relax, provide peace, and an angle and grip on healing. I'm so excited to hear what you share with us for that, Ms. Edmonston. So please, the floor is yours.
Well, one second, I have to just